My name is Jared James. If you aren't familiar with me, I'm best known as an entrepreneur that gets the unique opportunity to coach and train agents and brokers in the real estate world and speak at conferences in front of thousands of people. But it wasn't always that way for me. What separates me from so many others is that I've actually done everything that I want you to be able to do. For that reason, this is the place to come if you want to learn the strategies needed to succeed in today's marketplace. This is the Jared James Today Show.
Hey everyone, Jared James here, and welcome to episode 27 of the Jared James Today Show, our second episode actually in our new offices here. So eventually we'll probably do a thing on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, just kind of showing you everything and give you a layout of the office, which I think will be cool. As always, thank you so much for all of you that have been enjoying the episodes, giving them thumbs up, leaving comments, subscribing here on YouTube, and sharing them with your friends. Means the world to me. Today, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about how to persevere when you don't feel like it. It's easy to persevere. Perseverance is a lot like committing to somebody or saying that you'll do whatever they say. It's easy to do when they're doing what it is that you want them to do. It's much more difficult to submit to someone when they are doing stuff you don't want them to do, right? And perseverance is the exact same thing. Many of us, it's easy for us to persevere. I've never had to tell one of my kids to persevere through a fun night with one of their friends. I've never had to tell them to persevere. We don't persevere through stuff like that. We persevere when things are difficult. That's when perseverance matters, right? And I've been having, so many conversations with people lately about their businesses, about their life, and I want to make this very clear. This is not an episode for just anyone who's just down in the dumps. And, I just don't know. Some people it is for you. There's no doubt about it. But there's other people who you're killing it right now. Like you're winning in life right now. Like your real estate business, your entrepreneur, whatever it is killing it right now. But you lack the perseverance, or you're struggling right now with the perseverance to get from a great place to a greater place, right? Perseverance isn't just from terrible to less terrible, or from terrible to good. Perseverance is required whenever you're going after anything that's worthwhile. Perseverance is required whenever you're going after anything that you're called to do, that your purpose is there, that when you read about anybody who's done amazing things, perseverance was required because it's difficult. Great things don't happen from people who have good perseverance. Right? They come from people who have extraordinary, great perseverance. And so I want to talk about that today, and I want to relate it to a story that some of you have heard before, some of you hadn't heard before. It's a common motivational story that people use, and it's that of a Chinese bamboo tree. A lot of you aren't aware how a Chinese bamboo tree grows. And I know this is crazy. You never thought I'd be talking about a Chinese bamboo tree on the Jared James Today Show. But hear me out for a second, okay? It's going somewhere. When you plant a Chinese bamboo tree, it's not unlike almost anything else. It's not unlike the trees I see out here, the plants I see out here. It's not unlike that. You plant it, you got to have great soil, you got to have sunlight on a regular basis, you got to have water on a regular basis before it actually comes up. If you ruin that, if you don't water, if you don't, it goes away, it doesn't work, it doesn't whatever. But here's the amazing thing about a Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant that seed, do you know how tall it is after year one? It goes nowhere. You see no result. You know how tall it is after year two? Nowhere. You don't see a result. After year three, after year four, nowhere. You don't see a result. You only see a Chinese bamboo tree grow or actually pop through the ground after year 5. Now I want you to think about that for a second, right? Can you imagine having not just the perseverance, but the patience to say, I love this thing so much that I'm going to take up this area of ground. I'm going to water it every single day. I'm going to make sure it has proper sunlight, keep it out of the shade. I'm going to make sure everything about this is right, because maybe after 5 years, it will come up. And here's the crazy thing. Do you know that when it does finally come up after 5 years, after it hasn't even gone through the ground in 5 years, over 1,800 days, all of a sudden in the next 5 to 6 weeks, it grows 80 to 90 feet tall. Think about that for a second. And so the question becomes, does it grow 80 to 90 feet in those 5 to 6 weeks, or was it the whole 5 years? And I think the obvious answer to that question is that it took the whole 5 years, because if at any point during those 5 years you had stopped watering it, you had messed up the ground around it, it didn't get the right amount of sunlight, it didn't get whatever, it never would have been able to go to that place where it grows 80 to 90 feet in 5 to 6 weeks. That takes perseverance. And what I want to talk to you about today, on today's episode of the Jared James Today Show, is really what that story of the Chinese bamboo tree teaches us, okay? Now, I don't share this story often, but one of the most common questions I get from people is, why did I leave selling real estate and get into what I do now? Training people, doing events, running a marketing company, doing these things. They say, why'd you leave? If it was so good, why'd you leave? Because it's the old adage, right? Those who can't teach, right? And it's the idea that you teach when you can't do it. And the answer to that question is simple. I felt like I could have more impact. I felt like it was a part of my calling, what I was supposed to do. I saw the impact that it had on people. But what's never talked about is those 2 to 3 years when I first made the shift. When I first shifted out of selling real estate into going into what I do now, going and doing events, coaching people, doing that. And what's never talked about is those 2 to 3 years where it's extremely difficult. Like, a lot of you see me now, and now we have a staff, and we have thousands of students, and we have all these, thousands and thousands of followers on social and on YouTube and all these kinds of places. And yet the truth of the matter is when you come out of being a top real estate team in the country into going into a business where you don't have a name, you don't have clients, you don't have reoccurring revenue, you don't even know how you're supposed to do that, you're just trying to figure it out, those 2 to 3 years are extremely difficult. And you start to question, did I do the right thing? You start to question when you're looking at your wife who had this awesome lifestyle, and you have kids who are now coming up, and you're going, did I do the wrong thing? Should I be doing something else? And I relate so much to this story of the Chinese bamboo tree because I had to live it in my own life. And I wonder sometimes how many of you are not even giving yourself the opportunity to have the Chinese bamboo tree example or opportunity in your life to actually come through, right? It's awesome telling amazing stories, but the truth of the matter is that 90+% of us cut them off before they can ever manifest in our lives because we look at them as bad when the truth of the matter is they were meant for your good. Okay? And so let's talk about what we learn during that process, not only of the Chinese bamboo tree, but also out of my own experience and what I had to go through when I made the shift from real estate into what I do now, helping you guys, right? So the first thing that I think we learn is that you better know that you're on the right track, right? There's this thing called self-awareness. There's this, not fooling yourself. If you're going to commit to something, because some of you, your issue is not perseverance, you're simply persevering in the wrong ways. Think about my industry. How many top real estate coaches, how many top trainers are there realistically in North America? There's probably 5 that get called for every brand event, how many people try to become real estate coaches, speakers, be on stage? Probably 500 a day. Right? But many of them do it for the wrong reasons. They do it because of their daddy issues or because someone didn't like them enough and they need it for the attention or whatever. It's for the wrong issues. And so they'll persevere, but they're in the wrong place. It's not their gift. They don't relate to people. People don't listen to them and something in them triggers. Like, they're persevering for the wrong thing. So the first thing that we learn is that you better know you're on the right track. You better be self-aware. You better know that maybe you're in real estate and you belong in real estate, but you're the wrong part of that team. You're doing the wrong thing. It doesn't fit your skill sets, right? So you should persevere, but you should be over in this part of that team, not over in this part of that team. First thing you want to do is make sure you're on the right track. I knew that I was on the right track. I saw the example. I saw how people responded. I knew how it made me feel. I knew I was on the right track, and that's the first step. Know that you're on the right track. The second thing that we learn is that you better have thick skin. This one is one that everybody loves to say, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I worry about people who don't care about what anyone else thinks, right? And you also better walk around dirty and naked every day. Because if you didn't care what everybody else thought, you wouldn't shower, you wouldn't get clothed. It takes too much time. Who wants to do it? Who wants to brush their teeth? We all care on some level, and that's a healthy thing, right? But I want you to imagine for a second, if you were that person in the story that was growing that Chinese bamboo tree, I want you to imagine what it looks like when you walk outside every single day and you water an area where there is nothing there. Like, at first everyone around goes, oh, that's so nice. Jimbo is gonna, make a tree. He's gonna grow a tree. This will make the neighborhood nice. This will make the office area nice. This will make... After about 18 months, when Jimbo walks outside and starts watering the same area, don't you think people start to talk? Don't you think people start to go, you know what, Jimbo's lost his mind-o. Like something's up here. Like, does he not realize this is not working? Does he not? And that's true with just about anything that's worthwhile, right? You think people didn't think I was nuts when I left an extremely successful real estate career, went over to this, had no way to monetize, was basically not even getting paid to do events. I was paying my own way to go to events. People probably were on the side, I'm pretty sure. In fact, I know it's true. I can think of people right now who are going, Jared lost his mind. You know, Jared must... So you know that you have to have thick skin to do anything that's worthwhile. The third thing that we learn is that you better have a good support system. You know, when I made this move into this side of this career, you know, the number one support system I had to get on my side was my wife. I had to go to her and say, hey, things might change a little. And I had to like lay out a plan and say, can you give me this much time? Like, can I try this? Can we try to make this happen? Can I know, by the way, support isn't just support when things are great. Support is support when I need support. Which means if I have a terrible day and I come home and say I have a terrible day and I'm down and I'm downtrodden and I can't, you know, I feel like I can't move forward. I feel like I need my support system not to just be there. I need my support system to keep moving me forward. I need them to not take advantage of the fact that I'm now down. I need them to not look for the opportunity like a game of jump rope, waiting to jump in and go, told you so. That's not a support system, right? So the first thing, or the third thing that needs to happen is that you have to have a great support system. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult because nobody is strong all the time. I mean, I've had people and friends and family that have gone through cancer and gone through other amazingly difficult things. Nobody is strong all the time. Sometimes you need people to be strong for you, and that is why a support system is such a big part of perseverance. Perseverance is not just I persevere. Perseverance is we persevere. Completely different thing. And the fourth thing that we learn is that you have to have a high level of commitment to your process. Okay? You guys have heard me say this over and over again, and this just materializes again. Results aren't always immediate. Results are not immediate, right? The only thing that's immediate control is our commitment to our process. I use the example all the time of weight because it's a great example, right? Eating great once doesn't make up for 8 months of eating terrible, right? Going for a run once doesn't, making one phone call for your business you don't feel like making doesn't make up for 18 months of being lazy, okay? And so we can't control always results, but when we know that we're on the right track, when we have that thick skin, when we have that support system we can lean on, we now have the freedom to commit to our process because we know, because there's people around us, because we've seen this happen, this process equals this. Why do you think I run a coaching company? Why do you think we coach some of the top people all over North America? Why do you think that I love getting more and more people in our programs? Because I know what happens as a result when they do, when they're held accountable to stick to a process. Because most of us listening will not commit to process, will only commit to results, which is why, by the way, I say to audiences all the time, hey, if I could tell you 5 things to do every day that'll take you about a half hour every single day, but they'll create, 12 transactions for you in the next month, would you do it? They'll create 8 transactions in the next month. Let's just call it 8 in the next year. Would you do it? Everybody be like, yeah, I'd do it. Great. No, you wouldn't. Because 8 transactions in the next year is 1 transaction every 6.5 weeks. So you would do what it is that I'm asking you to do for about 2 weeks. I'm being nice. I'm rounding up to the nearest 2 weeks. And then you go, well, this isn't working. Let's try something else. Because we don't commit to process, right? And that person who doesn't commit to process never would have been able to see the Chinese bamboo tree grow. That person who doesn't commit to process never could have made the switch from their real estate career into what I do now. Because it wouldn't have made sense, because results are all we're looking for. And yet the funny thing is that the longer the results take to get there when you're following the right process, the longer the effects of those results will affect your life. Okay? Because they're more long-term. Because they've actually been built behind something. Okay? And so the main thing I want you to get from this video today is very simple. I want each and every one of you to think about this, whether you're here, whether you're up here, wherever you happen to be, whether you're watching this in your sales meeting right now, whether you're watching this on your phone, whether you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, I want you to rediscover why you do what you do every single day, right? Because that will help you commit to process. That will help you to persevere, okay? The reason why I was willing to commit to this side of my career and making a switch into this from what I was doing was because I truly felt it was part of my calling. I could vividly in my mind see the lives that I was going to affect. And when things were difficult and it looked like I was on the wrong path, I was able to think of those faces, think of those people. I knew what was coming, and I was able to make that so much more real than the reality that stood in front of me right now. And if I wasn't able to refocus on that every single day, it would have been overwhelming, and I would have quit right before I won. You understand? I would have quit right before I won because perseverance matters when you're on the right track. So I want you to think about that. I want you to rediscover why it is you do what you do. And then I want you to vividly get that in your head. And I want you to think about it on a regular basis. And the next time you think things are taking too long, I want you to go plant a Chinese bamboo tree and see just how long it actually is. It's not that long. Everything you do is temporary, but the things that take longer, the results will last longer, and that's what matters, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed this today, guys. Like I say all the time, go to connectwithjared.com, connect on Instagram and YouTube on here. Make sure you subscribe, Facebook, Snapchat, send me a message, say hello. As always, give this a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if this meant something to you or you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, just click yes, just write yes below. That would mean the world to me. As I said, subscribe, share it with someone that you think it will benefit. I hope for sure it's benefited you guys. Hope you have a great one. Hope I'll see you at a live event soon. Have a great one. Hey there, you, and I am talking to you in particular, person that made it to the end of my video. It means the world to me. But if you made it to the end, I'm hoping that you'll take a second and subscribe right here. Make sure you share that with all your friends, by the way. They're in real estate, sales, entrepreneurial, whatever it happens to be. By the way, if you're looking for a speaker for your upcoming event, click right here to get some more information. And as usual, if you have a question you want me to personally respond, just connect on social. You can click right over here and see